Hello, Pisces. Okay, so I have to start with a little confession, and I hope you don't take it the wrong way because I say it with total love. When I pulled these cards for you and started reading the energy, the very first thing I felt was you. Somewhere out there at like 3 in the morning, wide awake, staring at the ceiling, directing an entire disaster movie in your head, full production, great lighting, excellent sound design, a cast of everything that could possibly go wrong, all of them delivering Oscar-worthy performances. And you're just lying there producing this masterpiece of catastrophe that has, let me check my notes here, a 0% chance of actually happening. I'm teasing you. But I'm teasing you because I saw it, and because I know that feeling, and because I have the most ridiculous news to give you. So let me just say the whole thesis of this reading right up front, and then we'll spend the rest of our time proving it. Ready? Here it is. You are so much safer than you feel right now. The thing you're scared about, it's going to work out, and not in a, well, it'll be fine, I guess, kind of way. In a genuinely, almost embarrassingly, pop the bottle, why was I even worried kind of way. I know. You don't believe me yet? That's fine. That's your job right now, to not believe me. My job is to walk you through these cards until you do. So let's go. Let's actually look at what's here, because it's good, and I want you to see it with your own eyes. And before we start, just do one thing for me. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders down from wherever they've been living, up around your ears. Take one breath that actually reaches the bottom of your lungs. There. That's the version of you I want reading these cards with me. Not the braced one, not the one holding her breath, waiting for bad news. The one who's willing, just for the next few minutes, to entertain the wild possibility that things might actually be okay. Can you give me that person for a little while? Good. Let's begin. Let me turn over the first one. Oh, of course. Okay, so this is beautiful because the deck opened with the exact thing we were just talking about. This first card is the fear card, but not fear of something real. This is the card of imagined fear, of the mind in the dark. It's that specific energy of standing at the edge of something you can't quite see, and your brain being the helpful little catastrophe machine that it is, filling in all the blanks with monsters. It's fog, it's shadows, it's the shapes your anxiety paints on the wall when the lights are off. And here's the single most important thing about this card, so please hear me. The monsters in this card are not real. They're made of fog. That's the whole point of it. It's the deck holding up a mirror and going, look at what you've been afraid of. It's not a wall, it's mist. You can walk right through it. Everything you've been dreading, all those worst case scenarios you've been rehearsing, this card is telling you they're projections. They feel enormous because fear has excellent special effects, but they don't have any actual substance. You've been terrified of a shadow. So let me ask you something gently. What's the thing? You know the thing. The one your mind keeps circling back to? The one that makes your stomach drop a little every time it floats up? Hold that thing in your mind for just a second, because I want you to watch what happens to it as these cards come out. I have a feeling it's going to start looking a lot smaller by the end of this. And here's a little secret about this card that I think will help you. The moon doesn't show up to warn you about real danger. When there's a real threat coming, the deck has much blunter ways of saying so, believe me. The moon shows up specifically when the fear is bigger than the facts. When your imagination has gotten way out ahead of anything that's actually happening. It's almost the deck's gentle way of teasing you, going, sweetheart, you've spun this up into something enormous, and I need you to know it's mostly in your head. So if you got this card, and you did, that's actually reassuring news. Even though it looks moody and mysterious, it means the size of your fear and the size of the actual situation have come completely unhooked from each other. The fear is huge. The reality is manageable. They just stopped matching. But we can't just wave it away, because I know it feels real. So let's look closer. Let's pull the next one. Yeah. Okay, so this one is the 3 in the morning card. If the last card was the fog, this is you lying in the fog, wide awake, running the loop. This is the card of the sleepless night, the spiral, the same anxious thought going around and around until it's worn a groove in your brain. Hands over the face, the weight of imagined consequences sitting on your chest. And I don't show you this card to make you feel seen and then leave you there. I show it to you because I need you to notice something about it that most people miss. In this card, all the danger is in the head. Look at where the swords are. They're not in anybody. They're up in the air, in the thoughts, in the mind. The person isn't actually hurt. They're just imagining being hurt so vividly that their body reacts as if it's already happening. And that is the entire trap of anxiety in one image. Your body can't tell the difference between a real threat and a really good imagination. So you've been paying the full emotional price for disasters that never even showed up. You've been grieving losses that never happened. You've been bracing for impacts from cars that were never actually coming. And I want to be so tender about this because I'm not making fun of you, I promise. Worrying is not a character flaw. A lot of you learn to worry because at some point, worrying felt like the only control you had. If you could just think about every possible bad outcome in advance, maybe you could prevent one, maybe you could be ready, maybe you wouldn't get blindsided again. It's a strategy. It's exhausting, and it doesn't actually work, but it comes from somewhere real. So we're not going to shame it. We're just going to gently set it down, because these next cards are about to give you a much better reason to feel safe than vigilance ever could. All right, we've named the fear. Now let's find out what's actually true. Let me pull the next one, and honestly, this is where the whole thing starts to turn. Oh, now we're talking. Look at this. This is a card of forward motion, of momentum, of somebody in the driver's seat, reins in hand, absolutely going somewhere. And it's the card of winning through sheer determination, of getting where you're going even when it felt impossible, of a whole lot of forces that could have pulled you apart, instead getting pointed in one direction and moving. And the fact that this comes right after the anxiety spiral, that's the deck making a point, and it's making it loudly. Because here's what it's saying. While you were up at 3 a.m. convinced everything was falling apart, you were actually moving forward the whole time. You just couldn't feel it, because fear and progress can happen at the exact same moment. You can be terrified and winning simultaneously. In fact, you usually are. This card is showing you the version of events your anxiety completely left out of the disaster movie. In the real footage, the actual footage, you're not falling, you're driving. You've got more control than you think, more traction than you think, and you're already in motion towards something good. Can I be honest? This is the part I wish I could really make you feel, not just hear. Because your fear has been telling you that you're powerless, that this thing is going to happen to you, that you're just going to have to sit there and take whatever comes. And this card is calling that a lie. You are not a passenger in this. You've got the reins, you've had them the whole time, you just had your eyes closed. But here's where it gets interesting, because the very next card does something that seems at first like a total contradiction. Let me turn it over and you'll see what I mean. Okay. So right after that card of grabbing the reins and driving, the deck hands you a card about letting go, about surrender, about hanging back, pausing, and seeing the whole thing from a completely different angle. And I love that these two sit next to each other, because together they tell you something really wise that anxiety could never figure out on its own. Here it is. You drive the things you can control, and you release the things you can't. That's it. That's the entire secret to not living in fear. The Chariot says, take the reins on your part. And this card says, and then the part that isn't yours to steer, let it go. Stop gripping it. Stop trying to force an outcome you were never in charge of anyway. Because I think a huge amount of your fear right now comes from trying to control something that isn't yours to control. You're up at night trying to grip the future with your bare hands, trying to think your way into guaranteeing how it all turns out. And it's exhausting, because it's impossible. This card is showing you the relief that's waiting on the other side of surrender. When you finally loosen your grip on the parts that aren't yours, something almost magical happens. You see them differently. From upside down, from a new angle, the scary thing rearranges itself into something that actually makes sense. The problem you couldn't solve by force just solves itself the second you stop wrestling it. So there's your paradox, beautifully resolved. Drive your part, release the rest, and watch how much lighter the whole thing gets. Now, the fear is still real, it's still sitting there. So how do we actually deal with it? Let's see what the next card suggests. Now this one I love for you, specifically in this reading, because this is the card of quiet courage. And I want you to notice the kind of courage it is, because it's not the loud kind. It's not muscling through, it's not forcing anything, it's not gritting your teeth and white-knuckling it. In the image, there's usually a gentle figure with something that could be dangerous, something wild, and they're not fighting it, they're not wrestling it into submission. They've got a soft hand on it, they're calming it, taming it with tenderness instead of force. And that is exactly how you're going to handle the thing you're scared of. Not by conquering the fear, by putting a soft hand on it, by going, hey, I see you, I know you're scared, it's okay, we're okay. The bravest thing here isn't to stop being afraid. It's to be afraid and gentle with yourself at the same time. To keep your hand steady on the scary thing without either running from it or attacking it. That's real strength, and this card is telling me you have it more than you know. You've been so busy fighting your own fear that you didn't notice how strong the part of you doing the fighting actually is. So the picture's getting clearer now, isn't it? The fear is fog. The danger is imagined. You're actually moving forward. And you've got the quiet strength to handle whatever's real. But I want to make sure I'm reading the emotional temperature right, because something wants a little clarification here. Let me pull one more to check. Here we go. A clarifier. Ha! Okay, that's almost funny how perfect that is. Because this is a card of rest. Deep, needed, put your weapons down rest. It's the image of someone finally lying down, finally still, finally not on guard. And it's showing up as the clarifier tells me exactly what your fear has been costing you. You've been so braced for so long that you forgot what it feels like to not be braced. Your whole nervous system has been standing at attention, waiting for the attack that never comes. And this card is basically the deck walking over, putting a hand on your shoulder, and saying, you can stand down now. The war you've been fighting isn't happening. You're allowed to rest. And I think for some of you, this is the actual medicine of the whole reading. Not information, permission. Permission to stop guarding. Permission to unclench. Permission to sleep through the night without the disaster movie playing. Because here's the thing about rest. It's not a reward you get after the danger passes. Sometimes it's the thing that lets you finally see there was no danger. When you're that tired and that scared, everything looks like a threat. Get some rest, and half the monsters just evaporate. They were never monsters. They were just exhaustion wearing a scary costume. Have you been sleeping okay lately? Really? Because if you haven't, I want you to take this card as more than symbolism. Take it as a literal, practical nudge. Your reading is telling you that some of what you're feeling isn't intuition warning you of danger. It's a tired, over-vigilant mind that badly needs to rest. So rest. That's a real instruction. Let's keep going. Let me turn over the next one. Oh, nice. Okay, this is a spark. This is a green light. This is the card of a brand new opportunity lighting up, a fresh spark of energy, a go where you'd been expecting a stop. And it's got this eager, almost impatient quality to it. Like the universe is holding a little flame out to you going, here, take it, do the thing, it's time. And I love that it shows up right after the rest card, because that's the natural order, isn't it? You rest, you finally exhale, and then suddenly you have the energy for the thing you were too scared and too tired to start. So for a lot of you, this is confirming that the thing you've been afraid to begin, you should begin it. The leap you've been scared to take it. Because this card does not show up for things that are about to blow up in your face. It shows up for beginnings that want to happen, that are practically begging to happen, that just need you to stop being scared long enough to strike the match. Whatever you've been sitting on, hesitating over, telling yourself, not yet, what if it goes wrong? This is the green light, it's not going to go wrong. It's going to go. And I know that's the scariest part, honestly. Because as long as you don't try, you can't fail, right? Staying frozen feels safe. But this card is gently pointing out that frozen isn't actually safe. It's just still. And you were never meant to stay still. So let's keep pulling, because it gets even better. And I want to add one thing about this spark card, because it's easy to hear new opportunity and picture something huge and dramatic, some enormous leap off a cliff. But that's not usually how this energy works. The spark is small, it's a single flame, not a bonfire. So the beginning this card is pointing to might be tiny. One email, one phone call, one honest conversation you've been avoiding, one little yes. That's all this card is asking of you. It's not demanding you overhaul your entire life by Friday. It's saying, take the first small step, strike the one match, and let it catch. Because here's what fear never tells you. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step, and then the next one becomes visible, and then the next, the green light isn't lit for the whole journey at once. It's lit for the very next move. So make the very next move, and trust that the rest will show up when you get there. Let me draw the next one. Oh, come on. Okay, this is the one. This is the celebration card. Bring out the confetti, because this is literally the milestone, the homecoming, the moment where everyone gathers and something good gets marked and honored. This is the card of the party after the hard thing, the toast, the we made it. And it landing here in a reading called, what this one's called, with the little champagne bottle right there in the title. I mean, the deck is basically doing your emojis for you at this point. This is what's on the other side of the fear. Not disaster, a celebration. All that energy you spent dreading the worst, and the actual destination is a gathering, a milestone, a moment worth toasting. So I want you to try something, just as an experiment. That disaster movie you've been directing, I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you got the ending completely wrong. That it was never a horror film. That it was a comedy the whole time. One of those ones where the character spends the whole movie terrified of something that turns out to be wonderful, and by the end, everyone's laughing and hugging and wondering what they were ever so scared of. That's the ending this card is pointing to. That's the real footage. You've been dreading the credits of a movie that ends with a party. And doesn't some part of you kind of already know that? Like, underneath all the anxiety, isn't there a small, quiet voice that suspects it might actually be okay? Listen to that voice. That's the honest one. The loud, scared one is just louder. It's not more right, it's just louder. And I want to sit on this celebration card for one more second, because there's a detail in it that matters for you. The gathering in this card isn't a solo thing. It's people. It's community. It's not you achieving something alone in a room and quietly nodding to yourself. It's you surrounded, celebrated, welcomed. Which tells me that the good outcome on the other side of your fear isn't just the bad thing didn't happen. It's warmer than that. It's connection. It's belonging. It's the relief of realizing you were never as alone in this as your fear made you feel. Anxiety loves to isolate you. It whispers that you're the only one, that nobody would understand, that you have to white-knuckle this by yourself. And this card is the deck flatly disagreeing. It's showing you a doorway with your people on the other side of it, waiting to celebrate the very thing you were terrified of. So whatever you've been carrying alone, this is your reminder that the ending isn't lonely. It's full of people who are glad you made it through, okay? We've got a couple more, and they tie a bow on all of this. Let me keep going. Let me turn over the next one. This is lovely. And it's a little more grown-up than the party card in the best way, because this is a card of balance, of things settling, of two things that seemed like they couldn't possibly mix, blending together into something smooth and steady and right. It's the card of the middle path, of patience, of the storm resolving not into more chaos but into calm. And I think it's here to answer a very specific fear that some of you have, which is, okay, sure, maybe it works out, but then it'll just be some new kind of stressful, some new thing to be scared of. It never really settles. And this card says, no. This time it actually settles. This isn't you'll survive it and then brace for the next thing. This is things finding their level, water finding calm. The temperature coming down to something you can actually live in comfortably. So the good outcome these cards are promising isn't a dramatic adrenaline spike kind of good. It's a deep exhale. Oh, this is nice. This is sustainable. I could get used to this kind of good. The kind that lasts. The kind you don't have to guard because it's not going anywhere. And I think that matters so much for you specifically, because when you've been anxious for a long time, even good things can feel scary because you're waiting for the catch. This card is telling you there's no catch. It just settles. It just gets calm. And you get to be calm in it. Let that be allowed. There's also a patience in this card that I want to name, because it's the good kind of patience, not the white knuckle kind. It's not grit your teeth and endure. It's more like the patience of someone stirring something on the stove, unhurried, trusting the process, knowing it'll come together if they just keep gently tending it. So if part of you is scared because it hasn't all resolved yet, because you wanted the answer yesterday and it's still not here, this card is asking you to trust the timing. Some things can't be rushed into being good. They have to blend, they have to settle, they have to find their own level. And yours is finding its level right now, even if you can't see it happening. Calm is coming. It's just taking the exact amount of time that real calm takes. All right, last one. And this one's a big warm exclamation point on the whole thing. Let me turn it over. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, this is a card of rising up, of a big awakening, an answer arriving, a moment where you get called up into a whole new version of your life. It's the card of the verdict coming in and coming in on your side, of hearing your name called and realizing it's your turn now. And in the imagery, there are usually figures rising, reaching up, coming back to life, almost like they'd been in a kind of sleep and something finally woke them. And I get chills that this is your final card. Because think about where we started. We started in the dark, in the fog, in the 3 a.m. spiral. And we're ending with people rising up into the light because their moment finally came. That's the arc. That's your whole arc. From hiding under the covers from imaginary monsters to standing up into a new chapter that's calling your actual name. This card is the deck confirming beyond any doubt that the thing you're scared of is not a punishment coming for you, it's a call coming for you. It's your life saying, it's time, come up, come into the bigger version, the one you've been too scared to step into. And you're going to answer it. Not because you stopped being scared, but because the pull of the good thing finally got stronger than the fear. And here's the part of this card that I find almost unbearably kind. It's a card of forgiveness, too, of being released from the weight of everything you've been carrying, every mistake you've been replaying, every what if I already ruined it that's been living rent-free in your head. When your name gets called in this card, it doesn't get called with a list of your failures. It gets called with an open hand. So if part of your fear has been the fear that you don't deserve the good outcome, that you've messed up too much, that you're somehow disqualified from things working out, I need you to hear this final card very clearly. You're not disqualified. Nobody's holding your record against you. Your life is calling you forward, not dragging you backward. The slate's clean, the door's open, your name's being called. All you have to do is stand up. So let me pull it all together for you now, because I want you to walk out of here holding the whole thing. Here's your reading, clean and simple. You've been terrified of something that is made of fog. The disaster you've been bracing for lives almost entirely in your imagination, and your body's been paying full price for a catastrophe that isn't coming. Meanwhile, in the actual, real footage of your life, you've been moving forward the whole time. You've got the reins on the parts that are yours to drive, and you're being invited to release your grip on the parts that were never yours to control. You've got a quiet strength you keep underestimating. You badly need to rest, and when you do, half the monsters are going to disappear because they were made of exhaustion, not danger. There's a green light in front of you. There's a celebration on the other side of the thing you're scared of, and it's full of your people. It all settles into something calm and steady and good. And your life is, right now, calling you up into a bigger, brighter version of itself with a clean slate and an open door. That's not a maybe it'll be okay. That's a spread that, from the first card to the last, is essentially rolling its eyes at you with total affection and going, "Why are you so scared?" Look at all of this. It works out. It works out so well, it's almost funny. So here's what I want you to actually do with this, because I don't want to just make you feel warm for 4 minutes and send you back to the disaster movie. First, when the fear shows up, and it will, because that's what fear does, I want you to remember the fog. Just that one image. The monsters are made of mist. So the next time your brain starts up the horror film at 3 a.m, you're allowed to go, "Oh, this again, this is fog. This isn't real. I can walk right through this." You don't have to win the argument with your fear. You just have to recognize it for what it is. Naming it takes half its power away. Second, rest. This one was so clear in your cards. A lot of what feels like intuition warning you right now is actually just a tired, overworked mind seeing threats everywhere because it hasn't had a break. So take the break, sleep, put the phone down, stop researching the worst case scenario at midnight. Give your nervous system the thing it's been begging for, and watch how many of your fears quietly pack up and leave once you're rested. Third, take the green light. Whatever you've been too scared to start, whatever leap you've been standing at the edge of, this reading is a permission slip. Not a reckless one, you don't have to burn your life down, but the thing you keep talking yourself out of, talk yourself into it, just this once. Because staying frozen isn't the safe option you think it is. It's just the still option, and you were built to move. And fourth, and this is the softest one, be gentle with the scared part of you. Don't yell at yourself for being anxious. That never works. It just makes the anxious part dig in harder. Do the thing the courage card showed us. Put a soft hand on the fear. Talk to it kindly. Go, "I know, buddy. I know it feels big, but we've got this. And even if it wobbles, we'll be okay." You'd be astonished how much a scared mind calms down when it's met with tenderness instead of a lecture. And one more, because the cards were so clear on it. Loosen your grip. So much of your fear is coming from trying to hold an outcome in your hands that was never yours to hold. So pick, right now, one thing you've been trying to control that you actually can't. And consciously set it down. Say it out loud if you have to. This part isn't mine to steer, and I'm letting it go. You'll be shocked how much lighter you feel the second you stop wrestling something that was never going to be won by wrestling. Control what's yours, release what isn't. That's the whole peace formula, right there in your spread. Now, before I let you go, I've got a small favor, and it fits this reading perfectly. If any of this landed, if you felt even one little crack of relief while we were sitting here, do me a kindness and drop the words plot twist down in the comments. Because that's exactly what this is, isn't it? You spent all this time convinced it was a tragedy, and the plot twist is that it was a comedy with a happy ending the whole time. I read those comments, I really do, and every time I see a plot twist pop up, I know somebody out there just decided to stop being scared. And go ahead and give the video a like if it helped, because it genuinely tells me these are reaching the people who need them, and it helps the next nervous, ceiling staring soul find their way to a little relief too. If you're feeling brave, tell me down there what fear you're setting down today. Sometimes just typing it out loud shrinks it. And here's where I'll leave you. I want you to notice something before you go. That thing you were holding in your mind at the very start, the one that made your stomach drop, check on it. Is it a little smaller now, a little less solid? Because that's the whole trick. It was never as big as it felt. Fear just has really good special effects. But you've seen behind the curtain now. You know, it's fog. So go be a little braver than you were this morning. Not fearless. Nobody's fearless. That's not the goal. Just a little braver, a little softer with yourself, a little more willing to believe the ridiculous, wonderful, almost too good news these cards came here to deliver. It's going to work out. Honestly, it's going to work out so well, you're going to look back at this scared version of you and feel nothing but tenderness for her, for him, for you, for whoever's listening, because you didn't know yet. But now you do. So stop directing the disaster movie. The real one's already been written, and I've read the ending, and it's good. Pop the bottle a little early if you want to. I'll see you at the next one.